Hey guys, welcome back for episode 2 of the News from the Real World podcast. We are in the sound studio in the basement of Purnell.
Yeah, wouldn't miss it. I'm Matt.
I'm Margo.
I'm Kat.
I'm Lauren.
Great.
Margo.
I would love to start off talking about auditions.
Yeah.
I would. We have this article from Backstage.com by Daniel Holloway, and he is talking about 54 VHS tapes. You remember what VHS tapes are?
Yes.
Me too. Okay, those are a sort of recording device. Anyway, so they include auditions of Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, Sandra Bullock, and they are being auctioned off. They came from some unnamed casting agent. Someone found them in the attic, and they're being auctioned off, which of course has incited some controversy in the casting community because the audition room is generally understood to be this sort of sacred space. So is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? What do you think the benefit is?
There's no benefit. This is terrible.
Tell us how you really feel, Lauren.
I did. An audition is a private act that you create your art in one moment for a director, and that is an intimate moment, and that should never be used for sale ever. That is terrible.
Why not?
Because,
what would happen if it was?
I mean, I don't know what you're going to do about it if it was, but I think that's a complete violation of the relationship between an actor and a director. When you walk in there and give your monologue as an actor, you are giving a creative piece of yourself to that director for an intended purpose, and it should have no life beyond that. That's what I think.
Well, no, I agree. I mean, because I think it's possible if you only think that your audition is going to go this far, right? So you're willing to take more of a chance. Yeah. You know, when you have someone to call back and you know, if you're a jerk, which hopefully I'm not, but you know, you're like, okay, now quack like a duck. Okay, now do it as if your mother's just died. Yeah, oh, wonderful, right? Okay, so if you're videotaping that, and if that actor thinks that is going to show up on YouTube,
they're not going to do it.
They're not going to do it, and so I think affecting the casting process is a real danger of this sort of thing. There's a possibility of a legal challenge. Both SAG and Equity both have provisions against this sort of thing, but it's unknown if there's going to be sort of a legal challenge to this auction. I think certainly in the future people might be a little more careful.
Someone has to step in and stop this. I cannot see SAG-AFTRA and
Equity.
I cannot see them letting this go forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think the audition was this month, so I guess we'll see if there's more of a controversy over it. But I mean, I think certainly the casting community and the film community is kind of at one in condemning.
I mean, can we ever recover from this with the technology that we've got? Can we ever make this okay again? How does the
keep
technology
things private?
Yeah, keep things private.
I mean, I think the only way to do it is to make sure that unions or individuals or whoever is ensuring that that's not going to happen. I mean, there's no
way to police it.
There's no, I mean, beyond lawsuits and making rules and putting it in contracts and, penalties, there's no...
Well, I think there's the sort of social pressure, because in the article talks about this incident in 2009 where this casting director, Daryl Eisenberg, let's go ahead and, call her out for the bad behavior, was live tweeting auditions of Gay Bride of Frankenstein and, mocking auditioners on Twitter while watching them. And there was a huge backlash against this and, an apology and all this sort of stuff. But that was, the community condemning and saying, that makes you a terrible casting director. No one's going to want to work with you. No one, so I think there's the possibility that just sort of that social pressure may help.
But, I mean, beyond the social pressure, that it also said that they had to hold more other auditions. They had to redo all the auditions. So, on top of that, there's a huge, for producers, it's producers' responsibility to mostly police it, because they're the ones that they lost a ton of money because of somebody tweeting, wow, her skirt's hideous, or whatever.
Yeah.
You also look at actors like Brad Pitt, who's had a wonderful career, has come a long way since those early movies. I don't think he wants that early stuff out there.
See, this is
It's
where
got a reputation.
I've been thinking about this, right? Because I've been looking at Brad Pitt's, young, handsome face on the screen there, and I've been thinking, and I think I changed my opinion. Originally, I was like, yeah, this is sacred space. Just the raw, you just put yourself out there. It's embarrassing if someone else sees it. But, if it's Brad Pitt, I think it's fine, right? So a couple months ago, we talked about Hollywood auctions and people buying other people's stuff. So, what makes it, is it different that I can buy, Robert Goulet's underwear Like, that's something pretty personal, but what I can't buy Brad Pitt's audition tape for, like, Thelma and Louise?
But I mean, that's
Why?
it's
Why
his
not?
image, because all of these actors and all of these celebrities, no matter who you are and how famous you are, your image belongs to you, and so they have the
What
right.
about his headshot? Can I have his headshot?
That's
Well,
different.
I think
But
it's
yes, because he's personally been like, my headshot is out in the world.
Well, he's
Right, but-
personally, he's giving his
okay,
He's
but
not.
but even if it's not about the image, if it's about the thing that he's created, right? Because he's creating that performance for the audition.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be okay to sell his like journal, like his junior high school journal? I would say no.
Probably, I mean, and
That does happen.
yeah.
Right,
So
but
where-
it's
so-
not.
so
but
where's-
it's not
where's the
cool.
line?
I mean,
I
would say that it's not
it's-
cool.
I think the issue here is that it's being sold for a profit. The profit thing is what gets to me. Is that
So if they were disseminating it for free on YouTube,
yeah?
it
I
would
mean,
be
but
okay?
Brad Pitt
Yeah.
did not do this audition and have it taped with intention to sell it.
Right.
That's my
if
problem.
Brad Pitt decided he wanted to auction it off for charity,
Right.
Right.
that would be fine.
Right.
I would be okay with that. But it's just the breach of trust that you didn't expect that this performance was for public consumption,
Right.
and so you did things that you wouldn't have done if you thought it was going to be.
And you didn't
On YouTube.
sign a contract to protect yourself for any of it because there was no expectation that
Well, then
that
if-
would be an issue.
Okay, so then if that's the case, then I think there needs to be, and maybe there is, right? So the SAG-AFTRA thing, maybe there needs to be a definition
Mhm.
of what an audition is and
Mhm.
what is its purpose.
Yeah.
And who owns the audition?
Right.
Yes, yeah, and who owns that material? Is it the
Is it
theater?
the
Is it
casting
the director?
director?
Is it
Is
the
it the-
actor?
yeah.
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 Good
I
point.
don't know.
So more legislation, copyright more things.
Margo, our pioneer of copyright
Yes.
here.
Anarchy.
Let's
I love
talk
it.
about AutoCAD.
Why not? All right. So every year, AutoCAD comes out with a new version. So this year it's 2014. So like the next version is in the past year, right? So 2014 just came out, and there's a little mention of on the blog. It was Lynn Allen, who, if you guys are into CAD, she has a great blog. She like knows CAD backwards and forwards. So it's really great. Check it out if you like CAD. So I think I'm probably the only one who uses CAD or AutoCAD. Or yeah, a little bit. Vectorworks, AutoCAD, right?
I have Vectorworks.
Okay, Vectorworks. Does Vectorworks do every
Yeah, every
year or
year.
two?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a thing. What pisses people off in the AutoCAD community is it changes every year. And so like there's certain things that like AutoCAD people use AutoCAD and they love this command and the new version comes out and it changes. And I think that's something that affects us all because we all use software. We all like our little software things. Is there any software that you guys use that pisses you off when it changes? Like
iTunes.
iTunes, I know. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought it up. So like iTunes, I hate it. Like I've been, they do the little blurbs like upgrade now, and I keep saying
Yeah.
ignore. And Monday I was like, why not?
No.
Biggest mistake of my life. I'm never gonna have that back ever again.
You always
I can't.
regret updating iTunes.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or iPhone updates, or I
Yeah.
mean, they all change things, and you can't go back to how it was.
I mean,
which is the sad part.
I like Vectorworks better. That's what I was trained in, and that's fine.
Yeah, sure.
But like, to me, Vectorworks does not change so drastically from year to year. There's maybe new elements they introduce, but it stays pretty consistent so that once you've started using it, you can continue using it much in the same way that you have year to year.
I mean, I understand wanting to make improvements, but I think every year or every 2 months, iTunes, Facebook
Right.
is a little bit much.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, for example, Microsoft Office Suite products, they come out every few years or so, and then there's this huge period of readjustment,
Yep.
because everyone who used to know how to use Word is suddenly like, what's a ribbon?
Right.
What is this?
What is this little
I
icon
don't-
picture thing?
What does that
Yeah.
even mean? Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So, but it takes it it disrupts your workflow for a while. And so if I mean now like iTunes, I can't find. I mean I'm learning.
I
how
can't
To,
shuffle my music.
yeah, you have to. We'll talk later.
Okay, yeah. Let me know.
But you like trying to like sort of make all these kind of jury rigged ways to make it work
Do what
like
you
it
want
used to
do.
work.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so maybe we're all just old fogies who need to get with the times.
I think so. Yeah,
That's
because
probably
it
part
looks
of
like
it.
software is getting
just like-
faster and faster and faster,
Yeah.
and we just.
I guess we'll just have to keep up, right?
Those youngins just.
No, I'm not. I'm just gonna keep sticking with it until it
Okay, so
changes and I can't buy it
AutoCAD,
anymore.
AutoCAD 2008 forever.
Calendar creator, 1992. Always and forever.
Yep. Well, there's people in the building that still use it.
There are.
I'm one of them too.
Truth comes out.
So, all right, AutoCAD's the future. Everything changes. We just have to deal with it, I guess, is what we get out of this.
Let's talk about dinosaurs.
Yes!
Okay. So this article comes from Discovery.com, which is
Back to you.
awesome. So it's about this eccentric Australian mining magnate he's an Australian billionaire who has decided that he is going to spend his vast fortune on purchasing about 150 life-size dinosaurs from China and put them in his estate and have dinosaurs. They're robotic. They apparently can move their tails, their chests, and blink their eyes.
Oh.
Like real dinosaurs did.
Yes. Side note, this same billionaire has also decided he is building a life-size working sailing replica of the Titanic so that he could sail it.
And icebergs.
So, all these comments, I mean, clearly this is cool on the surface level because they're dinosaurs. But a lot of the comments were talking about how this is a huge waste of money. He could be using this money for charity. He, has all this wealth and opportunity to help other people, and instead he's buying dinosaurs from China. So what do you guys think? Is this...
Well, first of all, this is like a cross between Jurassic Park and Westworld. Do you guys ever see the movie Westworld? What could go wrong? Go wrong. Go wrong. And there's a bunch of robots.
So when these robots actually come to life, then there's just dinosaurs, and then it's terrifying.
Yeah,
then Jurassic Park.
But luckily it's in Australia, so it's on an island. So there's unless they can swim.
That's what happened in Jurassic Park too. They were on an island.
And then there's like 3 more of those, and in 3D.
Well, but if he puts them on his Titanic, and then he can go anywhere.
Yeah, we're in trouble.
But then sinks and we're fine. So.
Anyway, so capitalism.
All right, I kind of had an insight to this as maybe how this is interesting and neat, other than the cool level. Like, who cares how I spend some money, right? That's fine.
I care.
I was imagining, like, maybe this is the first step in a new type of themed amusement environment. So we talked a couple weeks ago about the penguins, and the cool thing about the penguins was that you were there with the penguins, right? And those are animals. These are not. These are robots. And so is there a new sort of zoo, but with robot animals? And it's sort of like, I don't know, like I'm just imagining like in the future, like this becomes a thing, and you could go to the zoo and you could see robot animals that you may not be able to see.
Who can breathe and blink their eyes.
Like real animals do. Yeah. No, I just think like it sounds crazy and ludicrous because sure we know that Jurassic Park, everyone got eaten. We know the Titanic sunk, but like maybe he's onto something. Maybe there is something in using financial and technological resources to bring the past back to life, or bring resources that other people can't.
Or we could put those resources into saving the animals that we're killing right now, so we can have real zoos.
Sure, but I mean, I'm just saying. What if there's a robot zoo?
Something that caused a huge furor on the comments section was the quote that they claim that this quote by this billionaire has said, when asked why he's doing all of this, he said, "I want to spend the money I've got before I die."
Okay. Let me just compare this, hold on, to Andrew Carnegie, who said, "The man who dies rich dies disgraced." But he meant it in a totally different way, stupid Australian mining magnate. He was talking about the obligation to return the money that you made to the societies where you made it. Because there's no way to make that money without exploiting the society that you're coming from. Mining. Yeah. You think that right, he's a mine, so you think that had no environmental or like human impact, right? You think that all this anyway, so that was sort of an interesting comparison for me here at Carnegie Mellon. Is just like,
I mean, and I think you have a valid point, but I think the difference between what you said and what this is cool. Okay, he's going to spend billions of dollars to make a dinosaur park for kids in like Australia in the outback. Like, okay, maybe not the best use of money, but like he's giving back something. He's literally buying these for himself. Like, I want the dinosaurs in my backyard, and so I will purchase them and sit them there.
Alright, yeah, then that's gratuitous.
I mean,
it's not open to the public?
It doesn't say. It doesn't seem like it is.
Okay.
So it's like
he's populating his own property
So
with
I
them.
guess intention here is important.
Yeah.
Yeah, his quote sounds like Andrew Carnegie's, except he's a terrible person.
Except it's like Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah.
Like, I will just buy everything for myself.
Yeah, he's pretty much terrible.
Okay, well, we'll see if this dinosaur thing actually, comes about. Maybe we'll go visit.
Nothing could go wrong.
The dinosaurs also aren't that impressive. They're impressive because they're life-size, but if you look at pictures online of them, they kind of just look like blown-up rubber, like... I mean,
it looks like they need a scenic.
They're not lifelike. Yeah. They're just life-size.
I mean,
we made a good dinosaur.
We
yeah.
We picked a good one. Carnegie Mellon. Yeah. There you go. Let's talk about college, speaking of Carnegie Mellon.
Sure.
Okay, great. More things I'd like to argue about. So, so there is this high school student named Suzy Lee Weiss, who has an editorial in the Wall Street Journal called "To All the Colleges That Rejected Me." This is a classic white wine about how this teenager feels entitled to have gotten into college, and she's disappointed because other people got into college. She feels lied to because she's been told her whole life that, you know, she should have everything she wants, I guess. No, her argument is that she was just told to be herself, and
being herself was not enough.
And being herself was not enough. So this is a really sort of terrible article, I think. I mean, it's meant to be satirical, but it's really just sort of horrifying. Like, there's several responses to this online, and, you know, sort of humorous responses, but also, again, horrified responses. I like something from Gawker's response that says, if you worked 2 full-time jobs all the way through high school, and one of them was being yourself, and the other one was trying your best, you actually worked 0 full-time jobs. You know, so also I'd like to point out that this teenager's sister is a former Wall Street Journal editorial features editor. So,
oh, that's how she got in.
Yep, so that's, you know, speaking of things that you don't necessarily deserve, she failed to mention that her sister is an editor. So how did you guys feel about this? Were you sympathetic to her plight?
Well, that kind of ruined it for me.
Yeah.
I mean, but I can still talk to my original point. So I thought that this was a great piece of, you know, Jonathan Swift, like, just satire. Like, she knew exactly what she was doing, and she was being totally ironic and satirical. And I thought it was what a great achievement that the youth can get into the Wall Street Journal. But I guess because of her sister, so that kind of ruins it for me. So
Sorry to crush your hopes.
I don't even know anymore.
Okay, it might be a little narcissism happening there, but or not narcissism, nepotism. Sorry,
yeah,
wrong word.
Also narcissism.
Sure, why not?
But I mean that doesn't necessarily it's still a satirical article. Like, sure, she had an in, she got her article published, but that doesn't necessarily completely discredit her point in this article. Like, I mean, I kind of disagree. Yeah, it's super whiny, and, like, sure, she's a teenager. Like, yeah, she's whining because she didn't get into the college she wanted to. But, I mean, there's a good point in that, you know, just getting good grades and, you know, I had a job at, you know, a pool for a summer isn't necessarily enough anymore to get you into the college you want to go to.
Right.
But it
And-
is.
I just don't see sort of what the problem is. Like, those are super competitive schools. Like, 6% of people who apply get into Stanford. Like, what? You are surprised that you didn't get in?
I mean, her point is saying that, which I think we've talked about before, is like this new kind of tradition that parents are coddling their kids, and everyone is special, and everyone gets the award, and everybody wins, and you came in 400th place, but here's a ribbon. Like, that it's that new generational thing that everyone deserves everything is what she's speaking to. And so the fact that her parents or her teachers or somebody was telling her, you're great just how you are, you don't, like, you're going to do anything you want to, was a lie. Which is, like, you know.
I'm going to take this a step out further and to say that she clearly has privilege that a lot of other students don't.
Right.
So I know that she's complaining about not getting into her top schools, and that sucks. But there's a lot of people that are working, you know, in high school they're working full-time jobs. They don't have time for any of the stuff that she clearly has had time for. So I know that she doesn't think that she's got the time for it, but there's other students that are even worse off than her that are already at a disadvantage where she's got an advantage. I have a problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's really irritating to me is all these things that she's, like, supposedly satirizing. Like, when she says, oh, I should have just started a charity and gone to Africa. It's like, well, what? So why didn't you?
Right.
You know, like, I understand, like, you know, you're not going to, like, fly to Africa, but she seems to be satirizing the idea of like, what people are holding up as good things.
Right.
Like, one of the things she lists of, like, things that it's stupid for colleges to consider is high SAT scores. Well, like...
It's the main measure of aptitude for college admission.
Yeah, so, like, why do you think that that's funny? Like, why are you saying, oh, I probably didn't get in because I have a good didn't have a good
Study
SAT
harder.
score? Well, like, yeah, that is probably why. The other...
I think, I don't know, I feel bad for her. Like, I understand what she's saying, and yes, she might have gone a little overboard in, like, her satire, but at the same time, it's a really good point that yes, SAT scores are important, but they're really not important anymore. Like, someone gets a shitty SAT score, but they've started a charity in Africa, they're getting into college, and the one that spent high school studying and got killer SAT scores might not.
I think it depends. Like, I used to work in admissions, so at 2 different schools, and so the criteria for schools differ, but like, for example, one place, which is like a selective liberal arts school, 25% is your SAT score. And there are mathematical ways that people do this. 25% is your SAT score, 25%, I think it's like 50% is your transcript, and 25% is what's called promise of contribution. Okay?
Extracurriculars, all that.
Right,
stuff.
but it doesn't have to be, you don't have to start a charity. It's just how, what contribution do we think that you're going to make to society, to the campus? Are you going to grow up and like go out there and make us proud? Right? So like that could be anything, and she just seems to, again, the thing about like working 2 jobs, one of which was being yourself and one of which was trying really hard, like maybe if you were working a job at a pool and you could write a really killer essay about how that changed your life, I don't think that's going to necessarily negate you because you didn't have $10,000 to spend a summer in Africa. I mean, I agree that the part of the problem is like the society telling people, these college counselors telling people like you're going to be super great. I just had a lot of problems with like her approach to this, especially it's a little bit racist.
It's the entitlement too.
Yeah.
That's
It's a little bit racist, a little bit homophobic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She hits them all. But I go back to the admissions thing. Don't colleges have to make their numbers too? Like, isn't there a thing that
Affirmative
happens in this
action?
country where like, no, not even that. Like, because here I am being cynical. They look at incoming students as investments, and these are people they can charge and loan money
Right.
to, and it's like, don't colleges need to make numbers? So like, a friend of mine works in admissions too, and it might just be his school, but he's saying they admit some people who
Shouldn't
in his
necessarily.
shouldn't be admitted. But so then maybe like, shut up, you're gonna get into college anyway. Like, stop
Yeah.
complaining.
That's a good point. I mean, I was, like, the college I worked for was need blind, so they didn't have to
Okay.
like, make those kinds of decisions, but there's only, like, 10 of those in the country,
Mhm.
right? So, yes, most colleges are making decisions partially based on the financial need and income level, in which case, she is getting another privilege that she's not acknowledging here. And she's what's so infuriating, the part where she talks about, like, I would have gladly been born a minority.
Yeah,
and I
that's
just, like,
awful.
I just look at that and I'm like, oh, honey, sugar, darling, like, you have no understanding of like how you have gotten to this place in the world.
or
But, I mean- Okay, we're assuming a lot about this girl. Like, how do you know she's privileged? Just because her sister works for the Wall Street Journal?
Have you seen this Gawker article? Has okay, yes. Much of her bitter criticism is leveled at her parents, whose lovely home, shared by Suzy, you can tour in this 2011 Wall Street Journal article. Okay, these people have like a multi-million-dollar house. I don't know what her parents do, but like, clearly she has some economic and social.
She wouldn't have gotten into
privilege.
the Wall Street Journal without some weight behind her, I don't think.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, yes, I agree with everything. This article is not perfect, but I do think that the point behind it is valid. And she's a little racist sometimes, like, she's a lot racist sometimes, like, not, sure, she's rich, she's privileged, she feels entitled, but that doesn't necessarily, there's still a valid point behind this article.
Which is, that's, I guess, what I'm.
I mean, I think I'm the most recent one to deal with college, I think, right? It's just behind me. But, like, there's getting into college is no longer filling out an application, writing an essay about being a lifeguard at a pool, and, like, getting a good SAT score. It's really not. And
it's hard. I mean, I acknowledge
Yeah.
that it's hard, but like the fact that she couldn't get, I just don't think she should be surprised by the fact that she didn't get into an Ivy League school.
I mean, yes, but I think her point is saying that everyone is telling you, oh, study hard, get good grades, be yourself, and choose what you want to do with your extracurriculars and with this, and didn't force her to, take piano lessons and become a virtuoso, or, become a world-class ice skater. Like, nobody pushed her to do that, and I think her point is that it's not that you absolutely need that to get into college, but that is something now that is looked at as, oh, well, you are better than this person who was a lifeguard at a pool.
Okay, so does this apply to other situations? We know where her position is, but for someone who is not that privileged, it raises the bar even higher to be unachievable. Is that concerning to us, that colleges are so far out of reach for the student who has had to work full-time and cannot do any of this stuff. I think that's where this applies. Even, her privilege, her position aside.
Right. So taking away from, because I just think that she's ridiculous. But yes, I mean, I think it's a problem for and increasingly a problem for people who are less privileged to get into college. And I mean, I think sometimes colleges try to make exceptions for that. For example, like when we looked at transcripts, if you're looking at someone who went to public
New York
school,
City public
where
school, yeah.
there weren't AP classes available, right, as opposed to someone who went to private school and had tutors and all that sort of stuff. Even when you look at SAT scores, I'm sure this woman had personal SAT tutors, which other people don't have. So like I think colleges do make exceptions for that, but yeah, I mean, I think it's really worrisome, and college persistence is really worrisome. She has been prepared to go to college, the expectation that she's going to go to college. There are a lot of families where it's not the expectation that you're ever going to get in, let alone that you're going to complete 4 years of college. So I mean, yeah, that's really concerning, but I am not concerned about her. I think she's just going to do fine in life, except that I would never want her to work for me, ever.
I don't think she's going to theater, so.
No, it doesn't. I don't think so.
But an enlightening discussion nonetheless.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Keep an eye on Suzy.
No, it's not. She sucks.
It's not. I hate her. Sorry, Suzy.
Forget about her. Good chat though, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. What's our website, Matt?
Oh, I'll talk about the website.
Yeah.
So, the articles we've been talking about are listed on the website below, cmuptmblogspot.com. Give us a comment in the comments below. Tell us what you think, and you can mention us on Twitter. Use the hashtag NFTRW. That's it for this week. What else? That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Bye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Oh.
So wait, the hashtag is going to be right here, isn't it?
Nope.
We're not gonna.
Oh!
Wait, it's gonna be right here.
It's going to be right.
Here.
I wouldn't point at anything
Yeah,
because
I
that's
know.
going to get awkward.
Looks-